UVCE Chronicles, sing it loud. Echoes of our past we're proud. From the heart of Bangalore to the world we soar.
Hello to all our viewers and listeners. Welcome to another exciting episode of UVC Chronicles. My name is Varsha Rao and I'm from second year AIML. On today's episode, we are joined by Mr. BG Dwarakanath. Mr. BG Dwarakanath is a 1970 mechanical engineering batch graduate. After graduation, he worked with a private firm engaged in manufacturing of automobile filters. Later, he joined the HMT division at Bangalore and he played an instrumental role in introduction of quartz watch technology in India. After that, he joined Titan, where he worked for over 30 years and served as the Vice President, COO, and Senior Corporate Advisor before retiring in the year 2015. Welcome to UVC Chronicles, sir, and thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you very much.
Sir, at UVC Chronicles, we believe that nothing beats a first hand introduction. So I would like to request you to please briefly introduce yourself.
Yeah, first of all, thank you very much. Uh, I am from 1970 mechanical engineering batch, and then soon after that, as you rightly said, I worked for about 2 years in a private firm manufacturing automobile filters. Then I joined the HMT Watch Division in 1972, and I was there until 1985. So during that period, I worked in R&D and a couple of manufacturing shops, largely in R&D. And I was instrumental in redesigning the automatic winding mechanism of automatic watches, which was highly appreciated by the collaborators, Citizen Watch Company of Japan. And in from 1980 to 85, I was engaged in bringing the quartz watch technology to India for the first time in the country. Then 85, I joined Titan as employee number two, and I was associated with Titan for about 30 years. Now I am on the board of a few companies and advisory board of a few educational institutes. I conduct leadership development programs and things like that, and then deliver lectures at various colleges and institutions. That's my background.
That was a wonderful introduction, sir. So, if today were a typical weekday, but let's just say in 1967 or 68, how would that have looked like for you?
It's always enjoyable to go back to your school days and college days. 90% of the students say that my student life was very good and that was the best time and things like that. It is true for anybody and it is true for me too. And one thing that we can talk of today is Bangalore traffic. So if I go back to 1965, 66, and up to 70, where I was studying in UVCE, I used to stay in a place called Gandhi Bazaar, which is about 6 kilometers, and the traffic was almost nothing. And we could cover the distance in cycle in about 15 minutes, I think. 15 minutes or maximum 20 minutes. No hassles, no traffic, no pollution. And then when the moment you go there, our classes used to start at 7:15 in the morning. So 5 minutes before 7 you start, and then you are there in the college right on time, and then meet with friends, and then stand near that compound. That compound near the mechanical engineering block. We used to stand there and chat and things like that. 7:15 promptly enter the college. Yeah. And if time permitted, for example, if there was an in-between break, normally 2:30 we used to have drawing classes and things like that. If there was 1 hour break or 1.5 hour break, we would cycle back 6 kilometers, have lunch or snacks, and then get back to the college in that time. Today, you can never imagine that. A lot of good friends, and then your friends have done well, and then that's student life.
That's really interesting to see how not only college but also Bangalore has changed over the years.
Right.
So, as a part of HMT Watches, you played a major role in introduction of quartz watch technology in India. So, could you share that part of your journey?
Yeah, you see, there HMT had decided to bring the quad sword technology from Citizen. So there was buy-in from the management, So buy-in from the company, HMT, and buy-in from the employees, and buy-in from the senior management. So the technology transfer was not a difficult task at all because Citizen had done that kind of a transfer technology way back in 1960s for mechanical watches for HMT. And they had to repeat that kind of a performance when quartz watches were being planned to be introduced in India. So that way, getting a lot of technical information, a lot of people from HMT going to Citizen Watch Company Japan for training, etc. All that was very smooth. But the problem was in marketing because at that time, people were not used to watches having batteries. So the moment you go to a customer or to a dealer, they would say, "हमको battery का घड़ी नहीं चाहिए." So we don't want battery watches. We don't want watches that require change of battery every year, every 2 years, and we don't know how the battery lasts, what happens if the battery leaks, and things like that. Lot of apprehension. So the first year of marketing was a real challenge. How we solved it? We had formed a small team. I was a part of the team. People from marketing, sales, etc. We used to go to all major cities in the country, name it, Bombay, Delhi, at that time Madras, Chennai, Coimbatore, Pune, and like that, Jaipur. So many places we went. We had called for meetings of dealers, and we would explain to them what are the advantages of quartz watches, how the accuracies are better, how the service requirements are very less, and what would be the battery life, and really training them to accept the change. So that was done over a period of time, and then slowly the change inculcated into the minds of the people, and then the rest is history. So that really paved way for Titan. So HMT had paved the way for quartz watch technology, and Titan encashed on it and moved forward. So
That's
that's it.
super interesting. And coincidentally, I am wearing a Titan quartz watch.
Very good, very
So,
good.
so that's really interesting to know how actually this came to life. So, being at Titan, you must have met and interacted with the Tata family.
Correct.
So, how was the experience of working with them?
It's amazing. After having worked in a public sector for 15 years and then a change over to a company like Tata, it was a major change. It was an unbelievable change. Uh, People should not misunderstand my words. A public sector is always bureaucratic, lot of procedures, systems, and things like that. If you were to procure one machine, for example, of value, let us say 10 lakh, it had to be built into the operating plan. It has to be approved internally. Then it has to go to the financial controller. It has to be approved. And after that, you have to get at least minimum three quotations, give justifications. Big procedure. It would take about 6 months, 7 months, or sometimes even years. And whereas the Tata culture is totally different. In fact, I call Tata as a trust and trust all the way. TATA. It is trust. You know, when I joined Titan, it's a major change. Believe it or not, we would just pick up the phone and place orders worth lakhs and lakhs. And one trip to Switzerland, some 2, 3 people involved, about 15 days of a trip to Switzerland, orders worth 23 million Swiss francs were placed. No question of proposals, no question of approvals, special approvals, and things like that. That is trust. So another team, including me, went to Hong Kong, selected a lot of appearance parts which had to be done initially, and then orders were just handwritten and then issued to vendors. And we built that kind of a trust. So it is trust and trust. So the change from a public sector to a Tata culture was really amazing. For example, a complete assembly unit, start to finish, in Dehradun was done in 45 days, including recruitment of people, including recruitment and training them. Unimaginable, unimaginable for a public sector. But the kind of learnings that you get from working in a Tata company is something unexplainable. So no amount of explanation can give you that experience, particularly when you meet when you meet people like J.R.D. Tata, so humble, humility, we have never seen, I have never seen him frowning. I have met him number of times. In fact, I was lucky to have made a portrait of him. I will send that portrait to you. If it suits, you can insert it in the video. And then humbleness and humility. It is unimaginable. Mr. Ratan Tata, I have met him number of times. I have gone to his office for official work and things like that. I have gone to his house. See, what happened is he he is basically an architecture background person. So he goes into lot of details, and then he wanted a watch, which exactly looks like what he has in his mind. So how will he explain that to us? So he would call us for a meeting to his office. He would show his watch, and then he would say, "I want the watch to be like this, and the case to be like this, the dial should be like this, hand should be like this, etc." And all that. That particular time, what happened is, no, I have a watch at home, but unfortunately, I don't have it here. Why don't you come home? Well, I said, yeah, I was so happy. I went to his house. This is about 20 years back. So he was living in a simple flat, I think some 2,000 square feet, three-room flat. He was staying second floor among a cluster of flats. And then I went to his house. Uh, how was our meeting? There was a small low-level table. He put his watches on the table. He sat at the ground on one side, and I sat at the other side, and that is how the meeting took place. He showed me his Piaget watch, and then said, "I want exactly this kind of a hand, this kind of a dial, and all that." I said, "Why don't you give the watch?" "Yeah, I will give you, but I hope you won't run away with that Piaget watch." He was joking like that, and so that is his. Believe me, after the meeting, 2 floors he comes down along with us in the lift up to the car to see us off. I don't think you can expect that kind of a humbleness and humility from such a senior level person. Another incident, he was in a meeting in Indian Institute of Science in Bangalore, and I was to show him some design for approval because as a Titan, we were making some trophies and things like that for what is known as the J.R.D. Tata Quality Value Award. In fact, we were making the trophies for that. So he had to approve that. So I went to the Tata Institute and I went near the meeting. I knew where the meeting was taking place. I went there and then, like everybody would do, I just peeped into the room. And then he saw me. Next to 2 minutes, he came out. If it was anybody else, they would have made, they would have, I think they would have made me to wait for half an hour. He came out and then said, "Yeah, yeah, come with me. As we walk, we will talk." Thought I was wondering where he was going. So we had to walk about 50 meters. He actually wanted to go to the toilet. Right? In that time, he has discussed with me. And then I waited outside. He came out, and again another 50 meters. We walked, discussing. Stood near the door, and then he said, "Yeah, this is fine. That is fine. You make this change, etc." And sent by, and then went back into the meeting. So, I mean, these are all examples, which you really experience. You cannot explain it. The kind of feeling that you get when you meet such people and such humbleness and humility. This is true for most of the senior people that you see in the Tata group. So that culture percolates into the Tata company. If you ask what is the culture of Titan or what are the values of Titan, it is the same that would have come from the Tatas. So humbleness, humility, integrity, honesty, trust, respecting others, and the list is endless, I think.
That is absolutely wonderful. Thank you so much for sharing those memories with us. I'm very inspired personally, and I'm going to remember all of those points.
So you can imagine how much I was inspired when I met those people.
Right. Yeah. So, apart from watches, mechanical engineering, R&D, what are your interests? What do you do in your free time? What are your hobbies?
So as I said, I'm a little busy with the board that I'm engaged with, but I spend a lot of time on photography. I've done a lot of professional photography right from college days. I think I started my photography in 1965, and then I must have taken more than 300 wedding photographs of all castes, all castes, and then. If I have to quote, I made a very special photograph of the action photo of a cricket bowler. and the trial shots of that were made in UVCE using the
Oh,
blackboard as the background in the mechanical engineering one of the classrooms. And one of my classmates who retired as Vice Admiral of Navy, Dilip, he was the first ED pick for me. The trial shots were made there. The trial shots were successful on a stage with good lighting and then black background, but the moving shot was made. I will send you that. I'll send you that photograph.
sure, sir.
So now I do a lot of Photoshop work. I've done a lot of industrial engineering, industrial photography for Titan, so which has been used in catalogs and then advertisements and all that. And I used to do a lot of fretworking, that is carving out of plywood sheets. Again, I will send you photograph of that, and that is it. And whenever there is any requirement from colleges or institutions or any other organization, I go and deliver lectures on total quality management, leadership, or innovation, for example. Because I have led innovation both at HMT as well as at Titan for a number of years. So that's how I spend my time.
That is very, very interesting. So, last but not the least, sir, what is that one advice that you'd like to give to all engineering students like me and all our viewers and listeners?
I am fond of quotations. Quotations are like Upanishads, blatant truth. If you really understand the spirit of that quotation, you can learn a lot. So, uh, my answer to your question would be in the form of quotations. The first one, to the younger generation, read something that nobody has read. Think of something that nobody thinks. Do something that nobody does. So that means you will be totally different. Unless you do things differently, you won't be able to move forward. That is change. Accept the change, do things different. If you continue to do what you did in the past, you will also get what you got in the past. Last year I did not study. I got only 40 marks. If I study the same way this year also, I will also get 40 marks. I may not even get 40. So therefore, the message is that if you continue to do what you did in the past, you will also get what you got in the past. So don't do that. Change and act. So how do you change? By learning. So change to learn and learn to change. That is it. Next quotation. If what you have done in the past looks large, that means you haven't done anything today. So don't bask on the glory of the past. That is over, past. Now you think of what next and how to improve upon that. That is my next this thing. Be humble, as I said. If you hold the past tight in your chest against, in your fist against your chest, how can you embrace the future? So don't hold on to the past. Please be ready to embrace the future. Okay, so like that, one can go on. Number of quotations are there. Be humble. There is no elevator to success. So it's not that I join an organization within 2 years I become MD of that organization. Impossible. So like elevator, there is no elevator to success. One has to go step by step. So plan accordingly. Don't plan for 10 years. Nobody can predict what happens after 10 years. Plan for at least this is what I want to achieve in the first 2 years of my career. Focus on that. Focus on learning new skills that enables you to achieve what you have in your mind, dream. So the only way of bringing your dream to reality is to wake up and work for it. That's my message to the younger generation.
Right. That was very inspirational. I'm definitely going to remember all of your words for my entire lifetime.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for joining us today, sir.
I hope you got what you were looking for. Hmm?
Yes, sir. Definitely. Very, very inspirational.
Yeah.
And it was amazing for me to interact with you. I learned so much from you. And I'm pretty sure that all our viewers and listeners have also learned a lot from today's conversation. Thanks once again for joining us, sir.
Thanks to you, thanks to UVCE, and thanks to all my classmates, and then thanks to people like you, and then who are really are taking so much of interest in being in touch with the alumni of the college, being in touch with them, conducting these kind of interviews, keeping the current generation in mind. That is really admirable, and I really appreciate all of you for that. Thank you once again, and God bless you.
Thank you, sir.